I thank the grace of Heavenly Mother, compassion of Maitreya Buddha, virtue of Suzun Simu, and also Senior Master Lee and Junior Master Lee for giving me the opportunity to host this class. First, I want to welcome you to this weekly Tao sharing session. It's good to have you here again. Today, we are going to talk about chapter 11. It's a fun chapter to talk about because Laozi talk about the wheel, talk about the vessel, talk about the room and the window. It's a metaphor that he used. So if we look at other scripture from other religion, you know that Jesus liked to use metaphor, and Buddha, he also liked to use metaphor too. And now Laozi, he used metaphor to describe Tao, as stated in chapter 8. Chapter 8 is the virtue of water. And then chapter 6, the spirit of valley never die. And now we are here talking about chapter 11. Chapter 11, the title is Emptiness Within, which I translated from these first two characters here. First character, it means emptiness, formless, and speechless. Most importantly, it's something that we cannot observe. We cannot use our sense to feel it. So it's formless and speechless. It looks empty, but in reality, it's not empty. It's called Tao. And Zhuang, which means in the middle or the center. So let's look at this diagram here. We know this picture, the yin and yang picture. Everything in the universe is made out of this picture. Everything that exists in the universe has its essence. And the essence is within. And within the essence, here we have the manifestation outside. Everything that we see in the universe, it has the essence within. I want to give you an example. Copper or rock. Copper, can we see the essence, or a piece of metal? We don't really see the emptiness or the hollow inside, but we call it the vein. The vein inside the copper, it's embedded in the manifestation. That's why copper can transmit heat. Same thing for metal. Metal and copper also has its essence. The essence is within every element of manifestation. So in the scripture of clarity and tranquility talks about this. The great Tao is without form, yet it creates and nourishes heaven and earth. The great Tao is without feeling, yet it moves the sun and the moon. The great Tao is without name, yet it forever supports 10,000 creatures. So the one that I make it through text here, this is the essence. So the essence is without form, without feeling. It does not have name, but whatever it manifests, it's what makes the essence function. So this is the explanation of the title. So in this chapter, it can be separated into two parts. The first section, it's made out of three examples that Laozi used for metaphor. So this is the body and this is the conclusion. So all these three metaphor is to describe the conclusion. So this is the most important part. Now, when we look at the chapter, very important, we have to look at this chapter as, oh, when I look at the metaphor, what does it have to do with my Tao? What does it have to do with my inner consciousness? What does it have to do with me? A Tao newbie come across this chapter. This chapter will not deliver any message to this newbie because it doesn't ring a bell. But since we are in chapter 11 already, we need to understand what does each metaphor represent. So now let's look at the first one. The first one is 30 spokes connect to one hub. With the emptiness, it serves the function of a vehicle. So here, with the emptiness, here the emptiness is talking about the Tao, the essence. Now let's look at the anatomy of the wheel. That's what Laozi is talking about. The 30 spokes is talking about this bar of connection from the outer wheel to the inner hub. So there are total 30 of it. Here, I'm sure it's less than 30, but you can get an idea. And this middle part is the hub. The hub is where all the spokes coming to the center to connect to the center point of the wheel. So hub is very important. And inside the hub, here comes the emptiness, and hence this is called the Tao. This is the essence. And this is the wheel. It's the external part. The external part is called the wheel, and the wheel can make up with any material. It can be, in this case, it's a wagon that was using 2,500 years ago. They used the wood. But in the modern time, we have synthetic tire. So then in the modern time, we don't have this box in the hub and the emptiness, but it's the same concept, because if you look at this, here's the hub, and the hub, it has 5 holes, and the 5 holes allow the nail to, or the screw to go through so that it can connect the hub to the wheel cover. So it's the same concept. But we don't want to use this as an example, because back then, 2,500 years ago, this is the wheel that Laozi is using in that time. Before I go on to the meaning for the spokes, the hub, and wheel, let me explain to you the etymology of this word, gong. You can see that 30 spokes connect to one hub. In other words, it's a hopping place by the 30 spokes. So the 30 spokes part one end of their side to this one hub. So they share the same hub. And you can see from this diagram, this picture, by the way, is taken from this website here. So there's 2 hands holding a piece of wood. That means together, both hands together. And that's just this 2 lines here. But you can see there's another 2 extra lines on the top. This 2 lines is not the hand, it's the pillar of the altar. The altar has 4 legs, or the 4 pillars. The 2 pillar is showed up here. Therefore, this word is also used as the word for worship. So gong, it means together. But this word in the ancient time, it can also mean worship. Now, the next etymology is wu. Wu is a very important concept, so I want to use this opportunity to explain. Wu means emptiness or nothingness, or something does not exist. So wu, in the ancient time, wu is equal to wu. That means dance and nothingness, they use simultaneously. In other words, people don't use this word, they use this word. So let me start from the word dance, the structure of the roof. And then can you imagine 2 beautiful women dancing under the roof with their long dress and with their arms opening up, doing some kind of dance? So when you study the etymologies, you have to use your imagination, your creation to think, how does this one relate to the meaning? So the way I look at it is that there's a woman dancing, and in the ancient time, the woman, when they dance, they wear a long dress. I mean, in the normal time, they also wear long dress too. And you can see that there is a horizontal line going across. So this symbolizes some kind of a fancy decoration that they wear on their head. Comes to the next word, wu. Wu means nothing or non-existence. Now you have to use imagination. This structure looks like a black wall, or looks like maybe a 2-story building, or I don't want to say 2-story building, sorry, because in the ancient time, there's only 1 story. So this could be the wall, and then on the top, it's window. So here you can look at, it's a structure of the building. And under the structure, there is fire. Can you see 2 fire right here? And when you move up here, you see there is the roof. And then you see that there is 2 windows. Underneath the 2 windows, here's the ground. And below the ground, there is a fire. So what happened after fire come below the house? Everything got burned down. Everything got demolished. They got destroyed, become ash. That's the etymology for this word, wu. Now let's talk about the hub. On the internet, I find this picture here, and I find that it's very close to what we need here. So this hub is where the 30 spokes join. And this hub in the center, it has, say, 30 holes. Each spoke on one end will come inserted into this hole here. In the center of the hub, there is the shallow area, which allow the axle to connect from one end to the other end. Therefore, it creates the function of the wagon or the wheel. So why does the hub and the wheel and the 30 spokes related to us? Laozi wants to tell us that inside the hub, there is emptiness. And emptiness, we know emptiness is the synonym of Tao. So Tao is inside the hub. It's internal. It's in the center. Tao represents stillness. It's the emptiness inside. Therefore, it's also the essence of the manifestation. That's the original nature. So this represents us. We have our original nature, and that original nature, our conscience, it's infinite. It lasts forever. It's our essence, and it's inside of us. Here comes the wheel. So if Tao is the center, then the wheel has to be the, because there is something that we manifest. And the wheel, because it's running on the ground, that has contact with the external environment, whether it's touching the asphalt, touching the mud road, or on a sandy area. It's all the external part of the wheel that has contact with the environment. So that's the, and that's the moving part. That's the existing part that we can see. So Tao is something that we cannot see, but the wheel, we can see the existence. And that's our natural behavior. So this concept is really important, because if you would run the wheel or your virtue with your natural behavior, that is, you are connected to the Tao, then everything will become so natural. In the earlier chapter, we talk about Wu Wei. What is Wu Wei? Wu Wei, it means to do everything naturally. Naturally, not in terms of my perspective, not you in your perspective, because your perspective will have a different interpretation than my interpretation. Here, the Wu Wei is talking about the natural behavior that has to come back to the Tao of heaven and earth, not the Tao of Joanna or Tao of someone else. So you see, this concept is very important. The 30 spokes on the wheel have to come to the center, and you see the Tao, it's an empty space. That empty space, it's also very important too. That empty space cannot be too big. If it's too big, the wheel will not run because it's loose. The emptiness, if it does not fit to the axle, it will not allow the wheel to run. On the other hand, if the emptiness is too small, the axle will not fit in. Therefore, the space must fit perfectly. It cannot be too loose. It cannot be too tight. So here we understand our external environment, the behavior that we manifest from our speech, we have to fit perfectly to the inner Tao. It cannot be too loose. It cannot be too rigid either. Now, talking about 30 spokes. Why 30 spokes? I think Laozi is just using that as an example. It can be 20 spokes, can be 40 spokes, or 50 spokes. So the spokes, it just means that it's multiple of things. I like to imagine or interpret as our sixth root, because this is where our manifestation comes from. The sixth root being our eyes, our ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, and our bones, basically our physical structure. So our spokes, our eyes and our ears have to connect to the hub and to connect to the Tao here. If I see something and it's not connected to the Tao, probably it's something that I should not see. If I hear something, it's not connected to the Tao, probably I'm hearing gossip. If I'm talking about something that's not connected to the Tao, probably I'm slandering somebody. It's very important to manifest our behavior, our speech from Tao. So you can see the importance of Tao being in the center and how you see that everything, it just expands to the 30 spokes. And when we expand to the wheel, in a way that they also connect to the inner Tao too. So a question that we can ask ourselves, do our spokes fit tightly to our inner hub, or does our spokes fit loose to our hub? If we fit loosely, the wheel will not run. And if we fit loose, that means we are not living according to Tao. We are just living whatever we want. Maybe we are indulging in our life. Maybe we are enjoying our life. We are not cultivating. But are we too tight? Are we being too rigid? Being too serious? That's not what Laozi wants us to do too. Our manifestation, our eyes, our ears, and nose, tongue, and body, and our mind have to work together with the emptiness here. But have you ever heard of some situation where the wheel is running, but then you hear a squeaking sound? In our home, we don't have doors. Sometimes we open the door and then we hear the hinge have the squeaking sound. What does the hub need? The hub will need some kind of grease to make it run, right? The grease is necessary. It's the lubricant. So what can we do to make it run more smoothly, to make it run faster, to make it run more efficiently? That is our cultivation and our practice. With cultivation, we will create merit. With practice, we will have virtue, and that will allow the whole wheel, allow the hub and the Tao and the emptiness, the 30 spokes to work simultaneously. It will work more efficiently. So the important thing to remember about this metaphor is that we need to put some lubricant in the hub because we want to make it run smoothly. Imagine we are a driver, and if we hear squeaking sound, we know that there will be danger, right? So we want to put the lubricant in the hub. If we are the driver, we have to make sure car runs smoothly. Probably when you run a car, you wouldn't hear, but if you ride a bike, you will understand the squeaking sound, where it comes from. Because when you drive a car, you will not hear the sound outside. But when you ride a bike, you can hear the sound. So if you are a driver and then you are taking somebody with you, say a passenger, and not having enough grease, not having enough lubricant, or the spokes and the emptiness does not fit perfectly well, that will create danger. Because if we understand our six roots, our bones and our body structure, our speech, our manifestation is working tightly together with the emptiness, we will understand that we are working perfectly with our inner nature. If our inner nature is working properly within ourselves, then we are connected to our Heavenly Lord or our Heavenly Mother. Tao in the first chapter, Tao can be interpreted in the universe level, heaven and earth perspective, and the human perspective. If we as a human, we can align ourselves, we can align our Tao to the heaven and earth perspective, and we can align ourselves to the universe perspective. Say if we do something evil, we don't need other people to tell us. But when we do something evil or something bad, our conscience will tell us. How? We will start to sweat. We get nervous. Our heartbeat will be faster. So that's our Tao. That's a great example that our Tao is resonating with the heaven and earth, is resonating with the universe. It's all connected. If we do something bad, we will feel right away. On the other hand, if we do something good, we feel blessed, we feel blissful. And that joy is undescribable. And that's the moment that your inner Tao is connected to heaven and earth. It's connected to the universe. So it's really a communion. Make clay to create a vessel. With the emptiness, it serves the function of the vessel. So here in the emptiness is talking about Tao. Again, Laozi is using this as metaphor. Oh, here I want to point out to you, for those who are learning Chinese, I want to point out to you that these two words are not used in the modern time. But anyway, this word is yan, which means mix with water. It's a verb. You mix with water with something. And zi is clay compound paste or Play-Doh. Kids know what is Play-Doh. So Play-Doh is made out of soil, mud, and clay. So here is the etymology for this word. Here, it has different meaning. But in this verse, we only use the first one, which I highlighted in green. That means hollow container. It can mean a pot or a dish, a long vessel, or maybe a flower vase, or a cooking pot, a drinking bottle, but anything that's hollow. So besides this, qi also means vessel, as a boat. Boat can use this word as qi too. Tool, like a different device, screwdriver, wrench, device, and organs. Organ like our physical organ. It also means capacity and tolerance. Now let's look at this. This is an interesting word. So qi is made out of two parts of caricature. First one is the dog barking inside. You can see here. And then there's a four mouth on the side. So this one you can interpret as a dog guards four mouth. So four mouth means four people on corner. Could this mean that the dog is trying to control the situation? Or this four mouth, meaning the four people try to contain this dog? It's something that we have to use our imagination. So this is the word qi. You can look at it from the dog's perspective or from the human perspective. But I think it makes more sense to say this four person here is trying to contain, to control the situation. The dog is barking, try to calm this dog down. Anyway, in this verse, qi means a hollow container. Zi, it's another word which we don't use that much. Zi, it means a soil with large clay content. So using this clay content, people can use it to make a dish or make a pot, make a different size of container. So the message of this verse is about emptiness. The pot has its emptiness. If the pot does not have emptiness, it's not called a pot. It will lose its purpose. I'm sorry, I use the word pot, but it's not really pot. It should be a vessel, because vessel is a general term for container. So let me use the word container. So if you want a container to contain more things, then you need a bigger space. So if you have more things, then you can carry more stuff. If you have imagine you have a bag. The bigger the bag, the more space it will contain, then you can carry more stuff. Therefore, more space, it means more usefulness. If you have less empty space, it provides less usefulness. Therefore, more space is more application. Think about if you buy a house. There's a small house and a big house. If they are the same price, with the same quality built inside, same environment, would you like to use the same amount of money to buy a small house or a big house? Of course, you want to buy a big house, because that big house, it has more empty space. It can contain more stuff. You can put more furniture. You can enjoy your living space. What about chair? I have people ask me about chair. Chair does not have a hollow space, but that chair has a flat surface that allow my butt to sit on. If that chair does not have space on the surface, then there is no usage on the chair. So everything that we use, we must have some kind of space. However, if we just have the space without the manifestation, without the appearance, the space is no use. For example, I was talking about the house. So we want to buy a big house, and that big house has 4 walls, so that we can live inside, we can put our furniture, we can put our family inside, enjoy our life. We enjoy that living space. We enjoy that empty space. So empty space is very important, right? But if I just have the empty space without a wall, then the house is no use. On the other hand, if I just have the house without the empty space inside, that loses the purpose of the house. Same thing for the pot too. Therefore, when we apply this to our cultivation, we can say more emptiness means a higher level of cultivation. In other words, we are all Tao cultivators here. The more we cultivate, our life goes on. When we cultivate, we're supposed to understand we need to make ourselves empty. If somebody who say they are a cultivator, but they are so full, they are so arrogant, their cup of water is like filling up, overwhelming, overfilling, that's not a cultivator. We're supposed to empty our mind. Think about we are the clay of vessel, clay of container. So with our emptiness inside, with our cultivation, it serves the function of our body. Our body is the vessel, and that vessel has the emptiness, which allow the Tao or the essence to manifest. On the other hand, if I just have the body without the emptiness, what is it going to be? I'll be dead, right? I'll be dead. Therefore, Tao and the manifestation have to come together. They have to work together. You cannot have one or the other. This is not about duality. This is about interdependence. They have to coexist together. Here I have an image. A person is doing window shopping. When we buy for our clothes, we also shop for what's inside too. If a piece of dress does not have emptiness inside, then it's something that we cannot wear. Therefore, every cloth has its hollow base. With that hollow space, we decide, oh, I want small, I want medium, I want large, I want extra large, that allow us to wear. So emptiness is very important. On the other hand, with that emptiness, without the clothes, then it doesn't work. It's not a clothes anymore. In the modern time, we intend to focus on the vessel, on the external stuff, on the appearance. But Laozi say, wait a minute. You have to look at both. You cannot focus on outside without focusing on the Tao. On the other hand, you cannot just have Tao without a manifestation. It works both ways. Here is a picture of Buddha Maitreya and watermelon and a sesame seed. In the earlier slide, we talked about emptiness. Emptiness serves the function. So if we cultivate, we're supposed to cultivate to our emptiness. So cultivation is to get rid of something, to become less, and less. What does Buddha Maitreya have to do with the watermelon and sesame seed? Well, in our life, we have a lot of problems that we need to deal with. Sometimes we have sorrow, sometimes we have anger. And when we are angry at somebody, really, really angry, and as if that your mind is going to explore, and as if that you are taking a piece of watermelon into your stomach. How many watermelon can you have? Probably one. Some people can say, I can have two, right? Look at this huge watermelon. So if you can only have two, now I want you to think about your watermelon as a sesame seed. You just have to reduce that watermelon to that sesame seed. So you want to convert, or you want to think about your anger, it's a piece of sesame seed. Let me ask you, how many sesame seed can you contain? Maybe 200, right? So how many anger can you have? After you have this sesame seed, eventually they will just dissolve in your stomach. So in our life, we have a lot of sorrow and anger, maybe hate, and especially for some people, they have anger issue and they remember what happened yesterday. They remember what happened this morning. This morning, you just did so and so to me. Last month, last week, you say whatever things to me that hurts me so much. And they even carry the resentment from few years back. So Laozi wants us to look at the present moment. In English, there is the verb has a past tense, the present tense, and the future tense. So we should just use the present tense, not the past tense. Everything is the present tense. So cultivation, it's about reduce ourselves to its emptiness. The best way to look at it is as if we are looking in a mirror. Or think about our mind is the mirror. If the image comes, we will take care of it at that present moment. And when the things is gone, the image should no longer be in front of the mirror. It should be gone too. So when things come, we will accept it. And when it's gone, the mirror is supposed to be clean. It should be just empty. So here I want to share with you a story of an empty boat. So this story comes from Zhuang Zi, the outer chapter, the tree on the mountain, 2, Sanmu. The story is called The Empty Boat. If a man is crossing a river in a boat and another vessel comes into collision with it, so imagine you are that man and you are sailing and you see there's a boat coming. It's about to hit you. What would you do? You will shout it out, hey, I'm here, don't come. And then you look up, the boat is still continue coming in. And then you will scream louder, hey, I'm here. And that person still did not hear it. Then what would you say? Probably the F word will come. The evil word will come, right? What happened to your eyes? Aren't you blind? Why would you be angry? Because when you are thinking that person is on the boat and that person did not hear. That's why we scream, when we shout, and we come up with this F word. But what if I tell you the boat that's coming does not have anybody in it? Will you still have so much anger? Probably not. So in the first scenario, we are assuming somebody driving on the boat, hitting you intentionally. So then you scream, you make noise, try to get their attention, and then your temper rise, you start to get hot. But on the second scenario, if you knew there's nobody on the boat, probably you will not get angry at all. A lot of time when we deal with things, we are already assuming there's somebody on the boat and that person tried to hit you intentionally. In other words, we already have prejudice. We already predetermine the situation. Sometimes when we walk on the street, somebody hit you. We will think that, oh, this person hit me intentionally. Aren't you blind? Why did you hit me? But if the person did that unintentionally, probably you would not be so angry. But a lot of time, when we get angry, it's because we assume that person pretend to be blind. Talking about car accident, sometimes we have somebody hit us. And when we get out of the car, what will be the first word that we say? Where's your eyes? Didn't you see me? So if we can assume that person is already blind, or that person does not hit you intentionally, or that person was feeling sick, then probably you would not be so angry. The story of empty boat tells us that before we judge other people, we're supposed to make sure the mirror in our mind is empty. A lot of time when we are angry, it's because the mirror in our mind it's already full of prejudice and bias on other people. So with that mentality, we will be able to exit from our anger and aversion, and we can self-heal much faster. It will increase our level of cultivation. Cut out a door and windows for making a room. With the emptiness, it serves as the function of the room. So here again, emptiness means Tao. I especially want to point out to this word, Hu. This word means door, and it's a singular door. Sometimes we have a two-panel door, but here it's talking about singular door. That's why I put down a translation, cut out a door and windows for making a room. So in terms of translation, whether it's one door or two door, it doesn't really make a difference. But I just want to make it more accurate when I do the translation. So here's the etymology of the word hu. So hu is a single panel door. As you can see here, it's a single panel. To study this, we need to study this. This is men. Men is a double panel door. You see this one is single panel. This one is two panel. So in the picture, it's pretty self-explanatory. So this is double panel door. Another thing I want to point out to you is that while I was preparing for this chapter, I get a picture from the website. So what I find was this one. I was thinking, gosh, nowadays people make house. They already save the space for the door and the window. That's called framing. I cannot imagine in the ancient time, they already have the wall made and they cut it out with chisel to make a door and a window. I think what Laozi meant was that originally there was a room. Somebody want to add additional door and a window. That's why Laozi say cut out a door or a window, or carve out a door or a window. Because originally it doesn't make sense to have a room without door and a window. So there must be door and a window existed, and he wanted to add additional door and a window. Here is another word. Oh, by the way, it's this word here. Cut out a door and windows. So here is the word windows. And by the way, this word is not used in the modern time. So this means window. Here it's a piece of wood, and this shape looks like an opening of the window. And then underneath the window, it's the wall. You can imagine this is a block wall or a brick wall. The wall that's made up of a clay. And then with that multiple clay, it's the brick. So the brick, it has a multiple level. It's tall because you can see that it's 2 or 3 levels. So on top of it, the window is sitting on top to provide the illumination from the sun, from the light, and provide ventilation too. So let's look at what does it mean for this verse. Cut out a door and windows for making a room. So this room is really talking about the room inside of us. It's our mind. We are a body of temple. There is the physical temple that we go to worship periodically. But there is also an invisible temple in our mind. In the biblical term, it says, may the kingdom of God live inside of you. So the kingdom of God is so-called temple. So that temple supposed to have multiple door and multiple window to allow people to coming in, right? Can you imagine a temple without door or window? A temple without door or window, that will be like a selfish temple that does not allow public access, does not allow the community to come in. It only allows certain members to worship. So here, the temple is talking about allowing the energy flow, allowing different people to come in. So my temple and your temple are supposed to flow well. We should not have any differentiation on denomination, should not have any differentiation on the branch and the line. The moment that we have differentiation on the line and the denomination, we are shutting our door. Have you ever heard of somebody say, which temple do you go to or which church you go to? Oh, you are already there. You don't need to come here anymore. You belong to there. Or, you know, you belong to our temple. Don't you go to the other temple? Or don't you go to the other church? No. we're supposed to leave our door open so people can come in and people can go out freely, right? That's called allowing the energy to flow well. The invisible temple in our mind, we need to allow people to come into our mind too. We cannot be arrogant, because in the moment that we are arrogant, we are stopping people coming to have resonation with us. Some people say, oh, I'm very knowledgeable. You don't know anything. I don't want to have anything to do with you. No, no. So Laozi say, make a door and make extra windows. Do not make fence. No black wall around. So people can come in, energy can come in. So we need to open our mind. Our room, our physical body is the room, but we need to keep ourselves empty to allow the energy flow. So we can see that in chapter 4. Harmonize with the light. Embrace the dust. Have the light come in and the dust come in too. The dust meaning mingling with the people in the society, whether they understand Tao or not. And chapter 8, water benefits myriad of creature and does not content, situate in the most disgusting place. Chapter 10, forget and nourish all being, forget without possession, devote all deeds without reputation. After success does not dominate others. So these are a great example of the door and the window. Being a saint and sage, we have to have multiple door open, multiple window open, so that allow people to coming in. We want to mingle with the society. We want to share our knowledge, share our wisdom. Also, we want to open up other people's perspective too. Like right now, we are doing a wisdom sharing session. So right now I'm talking, but after I talk, we will have Q&A, and that will allow energy to flow too. Thus, existence provides the benefits. Emptiness provides the application. First of all, existence is your mingde, which is virtue, behavior visible to others. And here the behavior is talking about good behavior, good deed. So when you look at this too, it seems the same. Existence provides benefit, emptiness provides the application. It's kind of confusing. But if I would change this word to app, that will be easier for you. Emptiness, the Tao provides the app. Can you see the picture here? So the Tao is like the app. My phone, your phone, we all now have smartphone. Within the phone, there's so many apps, but if we don't use it, what's the use of the app? There's no use, right? So emptiness is that app, but when we manifest, when we start to use the app, it provides the benefit. I hope that helps. Emptiness provides the application, can also interpret as emptiness provides the functionality. Here, I have application and functionality. So Laozi talk about 3 metaphors here: the wheel and the hub, the clay, and the window and the door. Because Laozi understands humans tend to focus on the existence. Humans tend to focus on the appearance, tend to focus on the manifestation. But Laozi want to say that this existence is only a shell, a shell. It's important we also focus on the emptiness too, because they work together, they are interdependent. Say a coffee mug. A coffee mug, we use the empty space to make coffee. And the chair, we use that emptiness to sit on. If we wear a hat, we use that emptiness to wear it. And the clothes that we wear, we use that emptiness to dress ourselves. So emptiness is important. However, if we just have the emptiness without the share, without the existence, it will not work. Laozi say we have to focus on both. We all want to live healthy, right? Maybe not longevity, but at least we want to live healthy. So if we want to live healthy, if we focus so much on the physical sensation, we want to taste good, we want the authentic food to satisfy our sensation, it's great, but we also need some time to focus on our emptiness, to focus on our Tao, focus on our spirituality. So here is a further explanation of the existence and emptiness. They are coexistence, co-dependent, and interdependent. So in the earlier three metaphors, Laozi talked about the wheel, the vessel, and the room. All this are the manifestation. The wheel provides us the transportation. The vessel provides us the containment. The room provides us the dwelling. So the manifestation, the existence, what's the purpose? Is to provide benefit, provide a benefit for us, provide a benefit to the user. So the existence is our five senses, our eyes, our ear, nose, tongue, and body. And the existence is our behavior, our speech. The existence is what we behave, but it has to come from the Tao. Everything has to come from the Tao. If it's not coming from the Tao, the wheel will not run smoothly. It's going to harm other people. It will have a squeaking sound. The existence have to come from the manifestation of Tao. So Tao has a different, I give a different name because some people, they find resonation with a different name. There's an inner being, and it can be called soul. It can be called conscience. It can be called original nature, Buddha nature, sunyata, or the source. So all is emptiness. So from our emptiness, we have our thought and our mind. So everything that we express have to come from the Tao. So it's very important when we manifest, we communicate with other people with inspiration, with motivation. And when we share with other people our speech, we don't want to share our bitterness. We don't want to give them sadness. We don't want to give them our anger. The existence or the manifestation has to come from our physical body. Tao is in our body. Whether you are 6 feet tall, 5 feet tall, or 7 feet tall, it's within that range. But let me take it further. It's within your head, because this is where your mind and thought come from, right? We can give people our smile that shows our compassion, our love, and our mercy. We can give people our smile, and then when we talk, we can nod our head to show that we agree with them, to show that we are really listening to them, talking to them, and that shows from our facial expression. But let me compress a little bit. That's to our heavenly portal. Our manifestation comes from our heavenly portal. Tao is the controller or the operator for our physical body. So the last two verse echoes with chapter 2. Here, the existence provides a benefit. This existence is about the manifestation of this first box here. And this one is the second box here. So in chapter 2, you can look at this as duality, but you can also take it a step further. It can be duality, but it can also be coexistence and codependent. Can you have front without a back? Can you have existence without a non-existence? The answer is no. Can you have long without a short? Can you have the high without a low? Probably not. You see, they have to work together. So now comes to our Heart Sutra. Now you understand existence and non-existence. They are codependent and they are interdependent. With that understanding in mind, it will help you to understand line 6 to line 9. First line here, form does not differ from emptiness. So here it's saying that all things come from emptiness. You are from emptiness. I'm from emptiness, right? Originally, I don't have this body. You don't have this body. We all come from the source. We all come from Tao. Tao cannot be tangible. So we all come from the source before we were born. Second, emptiness does not differ from form. So the emptiness cannot be used if it does not have the form. Therefore, the emptiness cannot independent exist. It has to have the form, right? So emptiness is exactly in the form. Here, emptiness is exactly in the form. The third line, form is exactly emptiness, because form cannot depart from emptiness. Earlier we say existence and non-existence cannot be separate. They have to coexist. Therefore, form is exactly emptiness. This cup here, can I have this cup without the emptiness inside? I cannot. Otherwise, it's not called a cup, right? So form is exactly emptiness. And emptiness, the next line, emptiness is exactly form. Without a form, the emptiness cannot be used. Without a form, the emptiness cannot be used. That's why form is emptiness, and emptiness is exactly form. It cannot be separate. So here comes to our last slide. Laozi used 3 metaphors to talk about Tao. The first one, Laozi talks about our conscience, our bodily behavior, our 6 senses or 6 root have to connect to that hub, and that hub is our Tao. With that manifestation, then our behavior will be natural behavior. It will be wu wei. Everything that we do, we will do it follow according to the nature. Second, if a vessel have more empty space, it will contain more stuff. It will be more useful. Therefore, in terms of our cultivation, when we empty our mind, it will help us to reach a higher level of cultivation, because we will be able to have better tolerance. We can accommodate more people, accommodate more perspective, and have more endurance, be able to manage things better. Remember the story of the empty boat? Everybody who come in with trouble on you, you always have to think, these people or this scenario, they came in with an empty boat. With that mentality, we will be able to ease ourselves better, and then we can reach to a higher level of cultivation. And number 3, our mind is like an invisible temple. So we want to make extra door, make extra window to allow that energy to flow. If you have knowledge, if you have wisdom, share with other people. But in the same time, have that willingness to listen to other people and mingle with others, whether they are a newbie in Tao or maybe they are a Tao guru. It doesn't matter. Or they could be from a different denomination. Maybe they are Hindu. Maybe they are Christian. Maybe they are Jews. Maybe they are Catholic. But it's okay. Your door is open, my door is open, your window is open, and I have a lot of window, then come on in. And the last one, it's just a summary. It says that existence and emptiness, they coexist to each other. Keep in mind, existence is our physical body. Our physical body is to provide benefit. Our body is not born to serve ourselves. It's to provide benefit. To provide benefit to others, just like the vehicle, just like the vessel, just like the room is to provide benefit to others. That's why we are here. So with our emptiness inside, we can manifest to a better person. Our life does not come easy. We all have our mission. We are in a Buddha training camp or Zen and Sage training camp. We have to pass this training course. Once we pass, then we can reach to a higher level. So this whole chapter can be summed up with this image here. Here, you can look at it as 6 spokes is connected to one hub, and we have Tao here. So whatever we do, whatever we see, whatever we hear, have to come from Tao. But after we see and we hear, it has to go back to Tao. So it's like when things come, we go take care of it. But when things are finished, we come back to our Tao. You see this circle here? We go out and come back. When we behave according to Tao. But when we are in stillness, we come back to our Tao. Same thing for our hearing and our bodily sensation. So this sixth circle represents our servant, and Tao is the master. These are the servant for the master. You don't want to make it the other way around. If they are not connected to the Tao, they become the master, then your life will be chaotic. Keep in mind, our body, our present body here, the mission is to serve the earth, not for ourselves. In my next sharing is chapter 12, care for the stomach. If mistakes were made or said during today's sharing, I ask the forgiveness from the Heavenly Mother, Buddha Maitreya, Jigong Buddha, Sijun Simu, and Senior Master Li and Junior Master Li. Thank you for your participation.